Hey guys, and welcome back to another SimCity video for you, coming at you. Um, in my previous videos, I kind of discussed, I kind of did some reviewing of the game a little bit, kind of my thoughts, opinions, etc., etc. And then I did another series of the different buildings, their functions, and the different add-ons that can go with them. So be sure to go ahead and check them videos out. They're all listed in my playlist. On my channel, youtube.com/needles, Needles. Yes, it's spelled a little different for a reason. Um, but I wanted to go ahead and, excuse me, I wanted to go ahead and touch base here on the next series of videos, or video, depending on how long this actually takes, the data maps. The data maps provide a lot of useful information. When the game is functioning as it's supposed to, you really want to pay attention to them. Again, hopefully with the upcoming patch, a lot of the bugs and stuff will be fixed, so you can rely more on these data maps. The data maps are kind of found in two different places, mainly. One is by simply clicking on the buttons on the bottom here. Not every one of them will have the data map buttons, but the majority of them do. For example, zones here. You click the zones button, you'll have these little data maps show up on the bottom right. They're kind of categorized, kind of to function with the zoning. If you click power, it will show you, other little features, data maps to go along with the power menu, the water, sewage, etc., etc. That is one way you can go in. If you already kind of know what you're looking for, you can simply click on one of the buttons here, and you'll get your little data map up on the side there. So it's fairly simple. The other option is to come over into the far bottom right corner here, and all data maps. It will open a little button or a little box that you can click each and every one of your data maps with, so you can get all the information that you need to get. A lot of them kind of play in together with each other, so you kind of want to watch them like your industrial tech. You want to watch that to go along with your education. Your zoning of residents, to kind of see what are, or just your zones in general, to see what is commercial, what is tourists, what are shoppers, what are workers, so they kind of all function together when they're grouped up. You want to watch them, kind of keep an eye on them. They help kind of get things, I guess, leveled out in the game. I'm not sure how to really say it, but they're really actually quite important in the game. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm not going to go through each and every one that are in the buttons, because they're all in the main data maps button here. So if you want to go through and look in each button, you're more than welcome to. You can kind of familiarize yourself with them. Otherwise, I'll just go with the straight all data buttons, and the same information will pertain to both. So I guess I'll start out with the population map. Fairly straightforward. I picked a city. This is kind of a residential, well, more commercial, tourist type of city, but it does have some residential and whatnot. So I did want to, I'm going to go ahead and kind of start here, and I'll jump to my other cities if I need to kind of get into them. But your population map, fairly straightforward. You look at it, and when you're looking around your city, you see the different colors kind of popping up. What that's doing is it's actually telling you what the different sims are in your city. Example, the green are showing the sims that are at work at the moment. The blue is all your shoppers. You got the little sims that are kind of walking along here, and then you have the sims in the buildings. They're all the shoppers. And then you've got the workers, which are the light blues. So you've got this building per se, 489 shoppers because it's blue. You've got 156 workers, light blue. And you can kind of, that it's watching exactly what it says, your shoppers, your workers. You can see what kind of, how many students you have, the purple. It'll show in the residential. It won't show that, of course, in like commercial or industrial, but it will show it in all the residential areas. Tourists, the yellow, are kind of based more, again, towards like your casinos, your landmarks, your commercial, and you can kind of see, like right here is one. It's got 653 hotel guests. Them are all tourists. So there's what, one, two, three buildings with it. Yeah, kind of a cruddy city, but you've got the tourists in the cars. You've got the ones that are walking around. So, excuse me. That give you an idea of what you've got for a population, what's actually in your city. I guess it's, really the best way to explain it. You do at the bottom, you have your visitors, which are kind of a clear with the little orange around it, but nothing really too massive to worry about there. So you do want to pay attention. Like an example here is, you see I've got a lot of purple. I've got all these students, but they're at home and they're not in school. And the reason for that is, in this situation, is because there is no school in this city. I don't have a library. I don't have a school, anything pertaining to that, and so they're not going to go to school. They're going to sit at home. If I had a school in town, you would actually see the school with the purple showing that them students are in class, and you'd see a lot less of these residential buildings over here with the purple, because they'd be in school. So that's the population map. Next one is happiness map. This one's a fairly straightforward. Red means they are very, very unhappy. The bright green means they're extremely happy. The reasons for being upset or happy vary. It depends. It can be taxes. It can be not enough shoppers. It can be not having enough money. So what you can do is you can look at the happiness meter, and then you can go over and I just hover over it, and it says no shoppers going out of business. So they're the red color. They're not going to grow. They're not happy, and it's the main reason is to do with not having shoppers. So they're going to go out of business if I don't rectify that situation. Residential will be the same way. If like the taxes are too high or there's not enough parks around, basically you look at this, you can kind of get an idea of where they are in their happiness, and then you can click on it or just even hover the mouse over the building to kind of get a better idea. Sometimes you'll click it and there will be a couple different things listed here, like no shoppers and unhappy with taxes, and so you've got them two issues to work with that you have to adjust somehow. When you make changes, they're not always immediate. Sometimes they take, in game, like a day or two in game time to really kick into effect. I've noticed taxes are like that. Garbage issues, that'll play a part on the buildings. A trick that some people say to do is, if you got bright red buildings like this, simply just demolish them and let them rebuild up. Then you don't have to worry about the happiness so much. More for your mayor rating. As you can see, I get a 77% approval rating, and part of that going down is because these buildings aren't happy. So if you remove them, you're not losing that rating so much. But that basically that'll cover your happiness. The next one is the building density map. First off, if you look at the progress towards density upgrade, you've got red to green. Red means they are unhappy. The buildings, of course, aren't likely to stay and aren't likely to grow into bigger buildings. Now, when you first construct buildings, they're almost always going to be red, just because they've started. They got to get into the flow of the city. And as time goes on, as long as you're good with your Sims, you're giving them the services and the tax rates and whatnot that they need, that'll slowly grow up to green. As you can see in most of these buildings, I've got a big green bar. That means they're more than willing to say if they can upgrade, they're going to. Example is right here. I've got a high wealth, high density. They can't upgrade any further, but they're happy Sims, so they're not going anywhere. They're getting everything they need. Then the density itself, white, like a white building, is a low density. You'll get kind of a medium. Yeah, I'll use this. I'll show you this one here. If you look at this building here, it's kind of a light bluish color. That's showing your medium density, and then you've got your dark blue colors. That means it's a high, the maxed out high density type building. So you want to pay attention. The density, it just gives you an idea of what you've got. It doesn't really affect too much, I'd per se, except for adding to your population. But you do want to watch the red and green bars. You know, like right here, their happiness is pretty low. They've got a big red or a low red bar, and the reason for it, they want to go to school. It kind of ties in with the happiness map as well. You know, you can see that it's a green, but compared to the other buildings, this one's kind of a lighter green than this one. It's because these guys are more pissed off than these guys are about the school situation. So, excuse me. So you want to kind of watch that if you're trying to figure out which buildings are happy or what the density is. Make sure you check out that building density map. So your next one is residential map. Basically what this is showing is it'll show your residential area. As you can see, none of my residential is in this area. It's all over here. So these are the bars are going to show only on residential. If you're looking through your city, you can see I got like a bunch of little green aliens walking around. Them are the residential sims, whether it's because they're going to work or going to school or whatever it might be, but they're a residential sim. So you can kind of see, I mean, right now I've got it paused, but if you're playing it, you can kind of see where they're walking to, what they're doing. You can actually click on them to get their thoughts. See, has some aliens going home. So it you know, an idea of that. And then the green and yellow, the green button is your happiness and the yellow is money. You want both of them to be as high as you possibly can get them. Happiness plays in again due to the services, the income, the attractions, that kind of thing that are around you. And of course money falls into how high their taxes are, and if they have jobs or not. If they don't have jobs, the yellow bar is going to be pretty low. You got to find the balance, because happiness, you know, could be from shopping, but at the same time they need to have jobs to have that money in. So you kind of want to watch the maps, the happiness. The commercial functions pretty much the same way. This one will show you your shoppers, tourists, money. So it kind of shows you what, yep, exactly, the profits are that are coming into the building each day. As you can see, some buildings over here are making squat for profit, and other buildings are making some fairly good profit. The more money your Sims are able to have, the more money they'll spend at the shops. When you're looking at it here, blue, of course, is the shoppers. Well, let me see here if I can find some of them here. I don't see any. You will get the little blue men instead of the green men. Them are your shoppers when they're wandering around the streets. The buildings themselves kind of show what, you know, exactly the merchandise, the goods, the amount of goods they have, which you can also, in your details tab, you can see the total goods, you know, for each wealth level. So having too many goods is a bad thing, and having too little is a bad thing. You got to find the medium, basically, where they're able to sell it, able to make a profit. Souvenirs are based more towards like tourists than they are towards shoppers. Merchandise are shoppers. Souvenirs are based towards tourists. So you want to kind of pay attention, depending on what kind of city you have. If you've got just a residential and commercial city that you're trying to just balance out, you don't have to worry so much about the souvenirs. But if you're trying to get tourists in, you want to make sure you kind of have a decent amount of souvenirs, because tourists buy souvenirs. So next one, I don't have the industrial on this, but industrial is basically the same way. I have it on another map on another city, but industrial functions the same way. Instead of having goods, it's freight, and so you want to make sure you don't have too much or too little amount of freight. If you've got commercial, industrial, and residential all in one city, it's a little bit easier to kind of balance it out. You know, you can have a little bit of industrial, and what that industrial does is it feeds the commercial, the goods to the commercial. But you'll get the same type of bars as the residential or commercial buildings have, just different colors. So, and it gives you the same kind of information. Land value, again. Red, we'll start with red. Red is an area where nobody wants to live because it's really, really low land value. You can kind of place the real low wealth sims around them. But a lot of like this right here that's causing the red is the airport. I've got the stadium over here. I've got a police station over here. So they'll bring the value down like the police station does for the fact that there's criminals. But you've got other buildings such as the casino that brings the land value up. The trademarks bring it up. The city hall will bring it up, and then other buildings, other buildings are a little bit on the edgy side, so you kind of want to watch where you're actually placing them. It goes from the red, and then it starts white. If you look down here, it's all completely white. And all up here is the real dark greenish color. White means low, and bright or dark green means high wealth. So you kind of place your parks, certain services, etc. as what raises them land values up. So if you want high wealth Sims or high wealth commercial, you got to make sure you place the proper parks and services in the area around them. And you'll get a little, if I can pull it up here, you'll see when you go to take your city or your park, that big green circle is the area, the coverage area that it should bring that land value up. What I've noticed is you actually have to place two of them concurrent with each other. So like right here I've got amphitheater and then another one here, and then in between it allows this land value to jump up so I can get the high wealth. So you're going to need to place more than just one park in an area to actually fully get the coverage that you're looking for. So but that's your land value. It's the same color for all of them. It's just, if you read the little toolbar here, it'll tell you what Sims want to be in that area, what kind of commercial buildings, low, medium, and high. The medium and low wealth get a little bit twisted up sometimes, where you'll have a medium wealth area and low wealth Sims will try to come in. You can just demolish it or wait it out, and sometimes they'll just kind of upgrade into the medium density or the medium wealth. Sometimes it's just a crap shot. You'll keep demolishing and bulldozing and they won't do anything. And then low wealth buildings will bring the land value down on the medium wealth. So you kind of gonna want to watch that. If you have to place more parks or services in the area, be sure and do that. So next one is industrial tech map. I don't have that on this map. Let me actually go ahead and I'll come on over to my other city here for you. Alright, so the industrial, as you can see, I actually have high tech over here, but it will function the same way. It's basically their happiness. You can see what is a high wealth or a low tech level versus a medium tech level, high tech level. Low will be kind of a grayish white. Medium, of course, is a light green, and the dark green or the bright green is your high. And you've got your bars as well here. Your tech level. Tech level is, you need to have, each building that is a tech building has to have enough of tech level, or they'll start complaining that they don't have skilled workers. You get tech level by having a college, whether it's just a college or a university. And as students go to that school, your buildings gain tech level, and then they use that throughout the day, and then the next day you end up replenishing it. So I think actually I was going to show you, I'll go ahead and show you the industrial map here too, just so you can see what I was talking about. but you can see freight, shipping, money, and then in progress for delivery and delivered. So this building is making 205 profit a day. This building has 189 freight units, I guess you would call it, sitting. And then as they're delivered, I don't think I have a freight building in here. I must have taken it out. But as they're delivered, your trade depots, that level will continue to rise as well. Technically, you don't want your freight to be maxed out. You want constantly a new supply, because that makes them happy that they're making products and able to get them shipped out. So, all right, the next is your power map. Fairly straightforward. If they've got power, they're going to be yellow. If you've got a building shut off, it's going to be grayed out, and red means they've got no power whatsoever. So it's fairly straightforward. You can see all my buildings in this city at least are powered. I have a couple buildings that are actually, I've got closed. It's simply using the little icon to open or close the building. So fairly straightforward. Your water table map, again, you're looking at your map. Certain areas will be white, certain areas will be blue, and certain areas will be kind of a black. White means you've got no water in the area, so you don't want to place your water towers and stuff in that area. Blue, and the darker the blue is, the better, but blue is where you've got water at, where it's on your water, where your water table has water at. So it's kind of sporadic. You kind of want to look at that when you're going to place your city or plan it out, because you don't want to just come right in and right off the highway throw a road down and then put water down if you don't know if there's water in the area or there's not much. And then you've also got really dark areas that you'll see, and that's areas that are polluted. You don't want to have just like a regular water tower or a non-filtering water pump. Otherwise, it'll pull that pollution out of the ground and basically send it to your Sims, and it'll make them sick. So then you've got a sewage map. Fairly straightforward. You'll see the buildings. As long as you've got your sewage done right, these will all be at like a real light color. The darker the color is, the more sewage it'll end up it's taking or using or creating. I have a sewage plant down here. Well, it's kind of bugged out because I had it paused, but if you're creating a massive amount of sewage, or in the treatment center area of it, not filtering it out, you'll have the building will be red. You'll have big red bars coming out. And your ground also. This is another way to look at what your ground pollution is. You'll see dark brown areas that'll be showing you, indicating that you have a lot of ground pollution in certain areas, whatever area it might be. So usually when you're starting out, you get the little rinky-dink sewage plants, the sewage outflow pipes. It will create a lot of ground pollution at first, so just kind of keep an eye on them. I'm going to go ahead and trim this video here. I'll continue on a part 2 here, but video kind of getting a little bit long already, so hopefully that kind of helps you at least on the first part of this video with some of the data maps. They are, most of them, pretty straightforward. Some of them you can kind of be going, what the heck's that for? So hopefully these videos, this one and the upcoming ones, 1 or 2 more videos pertaining to this, will kind of help give you a better idea on what the data maps are there for, how you can work with them, work together with them, with each one. And actually what I'm probably going to do, because I was sitting here thinking, is I will probably go through each of these buttons because they have a little bit of a different style data maps. I'll kind of check into it. I might not, but I might be a good idea just so people can have that. So remember to like, subscribe if you enjoyed this video or any of my other videos, and I'm going to try to keep pumping them out for you guys. If there's anything specific you might have a question on or you'd like to see, feel free to just leave it in the comments, ask, and I'll do my best to get back to you on it, whether it is or isn't something I can do or something I may or may not know. So thank you, and make sure to check out the next part of the video by using the link above, or in the playlist itself. Thanks.